Hey folks, welcome to the Asset Champion podcast. It's me, your host Mike P, with another amazing returning guest to the show. I am so excited to welcome her back. She's been on a couple of times, and the last time we were together, it was in the summer of 2023. Hot and humid. San Antonio, Texas was the location of the ASHE conference that year, and I had a chance to sit down with Lindsey Brackett of Legacy FM. So everyone, please welcome her back to the show. She is the Chief Empowerment Officer at Legacy FM, and we're going to get a refresher of what that all means and see what she's going up to, what she's been up to here in 2026. So Lindsey, welcome back to the Asset Champion podcast.
Mike, I'm thrilled to be here. Thank you so much.
And my memory's correct, right? Almost 3 years ago, here we are, late spring, early summer 2026. And you're still in Arizona, right?
I am.
Or Arkansas?
Yeah.
Arizona. Okay.
Yeah, in Phoenix, right in Midtown, 14 minutes door to door to the airport, which is fantastic for me.
So the heat doesn't bother you. You're good with the heat.
You know, in the summertime, we call it our sweater weather because you just stay inside the air conditioning. And you sort of suffer through.
And you need a sweater, yeah,
right. And you
because
just
it gets
have
a little
to,
chilly.
Yes, but it's been great. It's an awesome city. It is the most social city that I've ever been in. I've ever lived in. There's always something to do, always something going on. People here are from all over. It's been a really great transition.
So cool. Yeah, I've been there once. It was probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, pre-pandemic times, I believe, and it was a destination for IFMA's World Workplace one year, Phoenix,
cool.
Arizona. It was
Wow.
Really enjoyed that time there. But we were in San Antonio together for ASHE. You, for those that don't know, give us the quick Lindsey update. You've been involved with ASHE for many years. Your Legacy FM team is growing. Congratulations. You have done so many great things for the facility management community, especially as it relates to the healthcare built environment. So tell us about that.
Yeah, thanks. It's been beyond my wildest imagination, I think. In 2022, we had a pretty small team. We didn't have like layers to our team or, it was really no leadership positions or middle management. There weren't really any mentors yet. And now we've got 22 people, different levels of the organization, different teams, which is really cool, and different people leading in those teams. And that's been super rewarding. Like, we're hiring people and I've never met them until their first day, which is like awesome. It's just an awesome
cool
experience to know that, we've got a great, capable team, really solid leadership. We've grown a lot too in who we're serving. So we work with over 350 hospitals across the country. We've been some really cool places. Right now, we've been going as far north as Alaska. So that's been such an awesome experience working with the Alaskan Natives and the Indian Health Services, and which is very meaningful to me, being from Oklahoma. That's been exciting, and I'm still partnering with ASHE in a few ways. Legacy FM has a great strategic partnership with them. We are administering a lot of their MEC certification. That's for tradespeople who are frontline, getting them certified in healthcare, physical environment. And then I teach for them as faculty for their different programs. I did roll off the board last year, but it was so much fun serving on the board and having just that platform to influence the future of ASHE and its members. So yeah, a lot has happened. And then here in Phoenix, I became the director of education at our local board. So I get to organize our monthly meetings and our education programs and our conferences. So it's been great, really.
Really nonstop action in the world of the Brackett family, because we were chatting just briefly before clicking record. Last time I had your partner in crime, Joshua Brackett, on the show, and we were together in the same room. We had a great conversation. I should point everybody back to it. It was so good because it was just a few years ago, episode 113, everybody, of the Asset Champion podcast. And Josh shared his FM journey, and he's an expert in so many areas. And really bringing us that big picture of the asset life cycle and the limited resources that many in my audience are certainly familiar with having to deal with, budget constraints. And he was talking about the fact that we have a real chance to make a change in the early stages of design and construction. And that's really what we've talked about here on this show a lot about the last couple of years, and the need to, embrace technology tools. And we'll talk about it all, Lindsey, but say hi to Josh for me. Before we go on, though, I want to hear the latest from you when it comes to music. I know you're a big runner. Congratulations on another or your first marathon. Which was it?
Well, thank you. And actually, I took a challenge this year in 2026 to run a half marathon every month. And I actually started last year in December. So I'll have 13 consecutive months of 13.1 miles in 2026. Wow. I
underestimated you.
Well, I ran 2 full marathons last year, and a trail marathon and in Moab, which is super, super challenging. And then a road marathon here in Mesa. And,
Good for you.
I felt great about that. And then I also decided that the half marathon is my race. There's just less recovery time. I actually I was inspired because I'm a pretty spontaneous person, and I love a good challenge. So right. One of my mentors, Dave Dejanay, and in ASHE we have what's called the Crystal Eagle, and that's the Lifetime Achievement Award for our industry. And a few years ago, Dave Dejanay was awarded the Crystal Eagle, and he was like, I'm not an eagle, I'm a cow. I'm the first, crystal cow. He's a really humble guy. Nice. And he had some health issues last year, a pretty bad scare. And so he's getting back into, his fitness journey. And he was telling me there was one year not too long ago that he ran a half marathon every month. And I thought, you know what? What a great idea. I think I'm going to do that.
Good for you. You're such an ambitious family over there.
Is part of it, and music is certainly
I was going to say, do you listen while you're running?
Of course, yeah. And okay. I find that gosh, my attitude and my drive will totally change with the right song. And it's not that I have a set playlist. I actually have I have like all of my likes, hundreds of songs sort of going. And if I don't, if it's not working I generally don't change it. I'll just let it play whatever's next. Unless it's not doing it for me, and then I can't, forward fast enough. The only time I haven't done that was last year. I had a half marathon in Maui, and it was an incredible experience. But the whole time there's the ukulele. It's ukulele song. It was
somewhere over the rainbow.
Yes. And it was
what's his name?
Playing the entire 2 hours. The same, just on repeat. And I was like, this is great. This is all I need.
I can't imagine that being, inspiring for a long distance run, but I think it's a great song. I got to remember that gentleman's name who does it. Wonderful, wonderful tune. Oh, good stuff. Well, listen, speaking of ASHE and all you're accomplishing and doing, I was there when you were re-elected to the board. I guess it was probably around that time where your term had been up for one and you went on to the other. I'm like, no doubt Lindsey's going to get this. And sure enough, you did. But I was just kind of refreshing my memory on all that you've done and all your training programs and Legacy FM and your alphabet soup of credentials popped out at me, because I'm always inspiring or encouraging, I should say, my listeners to continue their education, upskill, learn new things, get out of their comfort zone. And credentials is a part of that, whether it's ASHE or IFMA or wherever. So real quick, you got to give me the meaning behind some of these letters. CHC.
Yeah. And I actually teach this program as faculty for ASHE. It's our certified healthcare constructor. And it's sort of like a third tier certification. So you would enter in taking what's called the certified physical environment worker, which is for anyone who works on construction or in healthcare facilities. It teaches them everything they basically need to know to do that work safely and in compliance. And then the course after that is what's called the Healthcare Construction Workshop. I just taught that one last week in Connecticut. So it's just like a bunch of contractors and subcontractors, and sometimes we'll see some facility folks in there as well. And then after that, you would aspire to get your CHC. And of course, there's like years of experience requirement or education requirements that you can combine. It actually has a much higher pass rate than the CHFM because it's really geared toward practitioners. So those who have actually done the work in the field, have their hands on the tools, it's really geared toward them. So if you are working in construction and working in healthcare projects, I highly recommend the CHC.
Okay. And you mentioned CHFM, you've got that. And then you have something called the CHOP. Is this a karate designation?
Yes, we are chopping out waste.
Chopping out waste. There you go.
Efficiency, not to be confused with Six Sigma. But yeah, it's based on, it's a certified healthcare operations professional. It's a DNV certification. DNV is an accrediting organization in healthcare. And they base their standards, their NIHO standards, around ISO. And ISO is very much about continuous improvement, process improvement. So yes, that's the CHOP.
Yeah, it's funny. And you have more. We could go over them next time you come back to the show. We keep it as a part 2 or part 4, whatever it is, next time you return. But you mentioned process improvement, and you mentioned these systems that are in place, these standards that are in place. We talk about it a lot here. I've had a lot of guests who are really expert in, the evolution of technology and AI, and I'm not going to put you on the spot to kind of predict the future, but what she was telling me was that the more these tools of efficiency and data analytics and AI come into play, the more we as humans will need to be leaning into those types of process standards and things that we then can analyze, use the tools, absolutely, not running away, but use those tools to be better emotionally intelligent decision makers and facility management leaders as we care for the built environment and the people. Do you agree with that concept in broad terms, or what do you think of that idea?
Yeah, I think there's so many conversations about AI, and in the asset management and facilities world, especially, we're thinking about, okay, what does this mean for us? And I definitely think it's a great enhancement tool. You certainly have to be aware of, you mentioned standards. So as you're using the tool to either improve standards or apply standards, you have to know the standards. So I think it starts with a human interface first, and then using AI to enhance or augment your work, and then an ending in a human interface. I'm certainly a proponent of it. I also think you have to use it ethically, which is a different conversation. But I definitely think it's a great tool to use, especially either to supplement or enhance your work. But the thing about AI is the advice that I tell my team and I tell others is only outsource the skills that you want to lose. So any critical thinking, judgment, writing in some cases, that level of discernment, certainly outsource those only if you want to lose them. and I for one don't. I wouldn't recommend in facilities.
And lose them in the sense that they become what's that word when you don't run long enough? Your muscles. I'm drawing a blank on the term. Atrophy. You atrophy. Yeah. Your skills can atrophy, just like your muscles can atrophy, or your physical condition can decline if you're not maintaining the pace that you're used to. And I think a lot of times these tools right now at this early stage, as we speak, this will probably be obsolete, 6 months from now or a year from now, who knows? But the idea that, we need to keep sharp mentally, critical thinking, I mentioned emotional intelligence, and those human traits are the things that, technology can't replace. It can only enhance or amplify one way or the other, for good or bad. And I think that we need to sharpen those skills and keep them sharp. So I think we're on the same page there. So what is it you're most focused on here, though, in 2026, Lindsey? Obviously growing the business, keeping everybody happy, and training everyone, and volunteering and running. But what else comes to mind when you think about your top priorities?
Yeah, I think, AI is certainly in the forefront and making recommendations about how to leverage AI and internally and externally. As far
Things
as
are hopping in Phoenix, by the way. You got I don't usually hear the background sounds, but you're like in the middle of it over there. I hear sirens, I hear fire trucks. We need to check on you, Lindsey.
It is like this non-stop.
Oh, you don't even notice it probably, right?
No, I like a little, but no, that's, no, it is, things are happening in Midtown Phoenix.
Yep.
And I'm actually, I'm right down the street from the largest hospital in the area.
Oh.
So yeah.
How convenient. Yeah. Well, there you go. It's like me. I live out by Dulles Airport here near Washington, D.C. And I never knew how often huge jets were flying over my house until I started podcasting and listening back and going, what is that rumble? What is that sound? It's like, oh, there's a plane going by. So anyway, I apologize. I had to make light of it because it was something that we could definitely hear, which is great. But anyway, your thought was something about AI, and I apologize if I lost your train of thought.
Maybe AI can fix the sound issue.
Yeah, let's put it into ChatGPT.
So I think that's definitely a focus in 2026 in many different facets. And then, for our company, we continue, we're so relentless about continuous improvement. I think we did a great job a couple of years ago with standardizing in a way that helps us scale. So I'm a big fan of standardization and scalability, and always just thinking about, okay, what does this mean for us in the future? And how can we set ourselves, our future selves, for success? And I think anyone in the asset and facilities world can appreciate that. So in terms of data integrity and good document hygiene, and then great communication protocols are certainly a part of that. And in 2026, we're also really focused on building the next generation of leaders in our industry. So we've been able to pilot and improve a couple of leadership programs with different systems, and working on things like business acumen and executive presence, and just some fundamental leadership skills that help them move from more of a practitioner or frontline person into a leader. And so that's been a really, really fun project the last couple of years, and we're really starting to see that take off in 2026.
Awesome. Great stuff. Reminds me, Lindsey, the show we're on together today is called the Asset Champion Podcast. And I don't think I've asked you this in the past, but what comes to mind for you when you hear the term be an asset champion, or I say, let's encourage you to be an asset champion? What does that take to be an asset champion? What does it mean to you when you hear that phrase?
Yeah, I think it's just in terms of being a good steward to the asset and to your facilities. So really understanding what it takes to not only maintain, but to optimize your physical environment and the assets, and to think about, what decisions am I making today that are going to make this organization and this facility, our operations, successful. So, I'm really big into reliability centered maintenance. I think applying really flexible and intelligent strategies to asset management really sets us up for success and helps us allocate resources in a more intelligible way. To me, being an asset champion is just being a good steward to your organization, to the operation, and how you are managing that asset and making decisions today for the future.
I love it. Very well said. Couldn't have said it better myself. That whole, yes, understand and be the best that you can be at the tactics, but it's a strategic kind of bigger picture that is all encompassing that we need to keep top of mind. And it's what you do on your social media channels, Lindsey. I want to point everybody to LinkedIn. If they're not following Lindsey Brackett on LinkedIn, why not, everybody? Check her out. She's got almost 12,000 followers. I am always smiling when I see you pop up on my feed with one of your videos. You do a lot of just very short, concise, insightful videos, kind of sharing your philosophy of education and improvement and facility management and all these different things. So kudos to you for that. Is it a daily cadence? How often do you do it? Weekly? I can't keep up.
I wish. Definitely several times a week. And thank you. Thank you so much for that.
Sure.
I love the community we have on LinkedIn. I've been able to meet, like you, connections in person. But where we can't meet in person for whatever reason, I think that we can really inspire other people and make a difference in the conversations that we're having on social media. I'm pretty consistent with it. I was posting a video every week starting in 2020. I remember. So I've had a good little backlog, and then I will post, every day if I can, or every couple of days. I've got to tell you though, we were just talking about AI, and I've been really intentional about using AI on LinkedIn because I do see what I refer to as a lot of AI slop on LinkedIn. I don't know if you've seen that.
I have, and people are pointing it out. It's becoming more and more obvious.
Yeah. And so it's one of those things when you use AI, you start to see AI more. And then it's like, when I think back of why I joined my community and why I'm starting the conversations or participating in conversations is, to share our stories, what's working, what's not, what are our perspectives. And if we're filtering all of that, through an AI voice, then we start to really lose, I think, just the genuine connection, and then also just what we have humans, our experience that we have to share. So I'm pretty careful about using AI. I try to avoid it to the extent, I find, if I find it helpful, I'll use it. But other than that, and I respond to when I see other people in my network and I can tell it's their authentic voice. I really appreciate that.
Yeah. I hope we do that here. And that's kind of the reason I warned you. This would go out as an unedited video on YouTube. Right. And yes, we may use some AI tools to kind of extract those clips or find the highlights to share on LinkedIn or other social channels. But I think people appreciate this, the fact that we're just talking. I've messed up countless times. And I used to get really upset about it. And I used to years ago say, okay, Mike, you could fix that in post-production and edit things down, but it's not necessary. It's really actually takes away something from these types of conversations. And speaking of great conversations, this one goes by so fast. It always does. We're past our time. I want to give you a moment just to share any final thoughts, some takeaway until we meet again on this podcast or at a future conference. Lindsey, what would you say to my audience of asset management and facility management leaders as we head into the future of the built environment together?
Yeah, I mean, just in light of the conversation that we've had about, what it means to be an asset champion, our conversation around AI and authenticity, and we talked about certifications. I think if I were to bring all those elements together, I would say to invest in yourself. The return on investment that you have when you either educate yourself by whatever means, maybe you're pursuing a certification, maybe that's formal education, if that helps you on your career path. I certainly think you are worthy of an investment. I think everyone is worthy of an investment. And so I would encourage people to invest in themselves in whatever way that's calling to them. You won't regret it.
You won't regret it. And you are worthy, everyone. Fantastic. That's amazing. Thank you, Lindsey. And thanks again for joining me on the show. It's been great to have you and catch up. And until next time, thank you for being on the Asset Champion podcast.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And thank you all for watching if you're here on YouTube with us or listening on the regular podcast channels. I hope you're getting a lot of value from these conversations. I certainly do. And if so, would you please share this podcast with a colleague or a friend, anyone who might like to join us as we continue on our journey to encourage and inspire you to be an asset champion. Peace out, everybody.